Welcome to the Uncensored Self Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and this is a space where women who value achievement, success, accomplishment, and wealth, but also crave happiness, love, joy, and deep fulfillment come to remember that we get to have both. Not by doing more, but by being more of who we truly are. In this show, we explore identity, energy, alignment, and embodiment because you didn't come here to follow someone else's rules. You came to right your own. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Uncensored Self Podcast and the kickoff of an extremely exciting podcast series called The Mid-Year Comeback. And I am so excited to deliver this series for you over the next week. So if we haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet and you're just finding this series on social media or somewhere, my name is Ryan. I'm the founder of the Uncensored Self, and my clients call me their business therapist. God bless them. But what I really do is I work with highly successful humans who are addicted to success and achievement, and I help them break up with that and create lives that they're really, really obsessed with. So this mid-year comeback was an idea that came through when I was actually in my bathroom getting ready, thinking about how, oh my God, it's June. It's the end of June. Like 2025 is halfway over, like I feel like the kids just got out of school, but we're already thinking about the fall. And I was just kind of blown away when I thought about it, just from like my own personal life. And then I started thinking about like goals and achievement and where we're at. And because I remember for so many years of my life, the way that time would pass is I would look at the time and I would think, oh my God, it's moving so fast and I'm behind. Oh my God, it's moving so fast and I haven't done what I wanted to do. Oh my God, it's moving so fast and I haven't hit my goals yet. And it was really fun to feel like, oh my gosh, time is moving so fast. And this is so amazing. And there's so many incredible things happening. And there's so many incredible things on the horizon. And we have this planned and we have this planned and this is going on. Like it was a completely different perspective of looking at time. And so I noticed it. And then it dropped in of like, we need to have this conversation because I know how this used to feel. You start January and you're like, I got goals. I'm ready. I'm so excited. This is going to be the best year ever. I'm going to keep my commitments to myself. I'm going to show up. I'm going to stay organized. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to journal every morning. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to become the kind of person that I want to be. And by February, we forgot all of that shit. And now we are so busy and so off track and so disconnected from those goals that you might not even remember what you wrote down. All you know is you are not on track and you're probably not going to hit them this year. And so this podcast series is to help us not do that this year. Like, let's not say fuck it and say we'll start over next year, or there's just too much going on and then we'll start over in the fall, because you're not going to start over in the fall. And then you're going to be looking at January 2026 and then that's going to be your year. And I am done with that experience personally, and I'm really grateful for it. And I want to help you be done with that experience as well. So this podcast series, I'm going to deliver it over 5 different podcasts. My goal is to keep these at about 20 minutes. So I want them to be condensed, but really powerful and really transformational. So the way the series is going to work is I'm going to drop a podcast. Obviously, this one's coming in on Monday. And then Wednesday, I'm going to give you another podcast. And then probably Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday of next week. So it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday are the 5 series. And so they're all going to go together. They're all going to stack on top of one another. So I think you're really going to enjoy this series. There's a couple things also happening during this series that I want to make you aware of. I am also, as part of this series, giving away two different spots for one-on-one mentorship. I call this Energy Shift, and it's messenger style coaching where basically you and I work together over the course of 7 days to work through something that's really specific to you. And again, this is totally personalized, totally customized. And I'm actually going to raffle off 2 different spots. So there's a way that you get your name in the hat, if you will, is first and foremost, if you review the podcast. So if you go find the Uncensored Self, whether you listen on Spotify or Apple iTunes, whatever it is, YouTube, leave a review. You can just screenshot and send that to me on social media or email or whatever. That will get you an entry into the drawing, if you will. And then the second thing is to share the podcast series. So if you're listening to it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, I want to share this with you guys. So share it with your community in some capacity. And again, same thing, screenshot and send it to me. And then you can, yes, you're going to get the opportunity to be entered twice if you do both of those things. And then I'm going to draw 2 names on July 1st of people who are going to win those 7-day spots. I charge $588 for that. So I'm really excited about it. And I'm excited about the series and the work we're going to do here together, but it is going to build, and I'm going to give you a lot of contemplations. And so I want you to treat this. I'm going to just challenge you and then I'm going to dive in. I want you to treat this like a program you paid for. I want you to treat this like something that's really going to transform your life. This isn't just a podcast you decided to listen to today, because quite frankly, you listen to podcasts every day, probably, right? If you're like most of the women that I work with, you listen to podcasts, you consume a lot of information. And I want to invite you to stop consuming and to start embodying what you learn. Because when we stop consuming just to say, well, I listened to this book and I listened to that thing and I listened to this and I've listened to 47 books so far this year, but I haven't implemented a single fucking thing in said book. That's not what we're doing here. If this is going to change your life, which I believe for free, we will do that. But you have to treat it that way. You have to actually make time to listen to the podcast. You have to actively do the contemplations and do the journal exercises and really give this some thought. This is not learning. You're not learning from me right now. You're transforming. And I want you to understand the difference. Learning is I just consumed it, I took some notes, and I could regurgitate it to somebody else. That's amazing. Transformation is I heard it, I thought about it, I considered it, I'm trying it on, and I'm going to move through life this way and experience transformation. And I want you to experience transformation in our time together. And I believe that if you treat this like something you paid for and something that is going to transform you, that it will. I believe that so clearly. I need you to believe that as well. There's one other thing that I had forgot to mention as far as logistics. If you are not inside of our Facebook group, it's called the Uncensored Self Backstage Pass. If you're not inside of that Facebook group, there will be things happening inside of that Facebook group that will not be shared publicly. So there will be some journal prompts, opportunity for some hot seat coaching for you to ask some questions. And I'm going to answer some of those questions for you live inside of the group. So if you want to really treat this like a paid program and really treat this like an opportunity to get some coaching and get some support, I'm going to really challenge you to do that. So are we ready to dive in? Let's do it. So the first part of the Mid-Year Comeback podcast, Mid-Year Comeback podcast series is the truth about where you are, right? The truth about where you are. And we want this truth to come from a place of reflection, of connection, of calibration, not shame. That is so important as we go through this. This is not an excuse for you to be mean to yourself because you're not where you want to be. This is not an excuse for you to be like, you dumbass, you do this every year. What is wrong with you? Why are you even bothering? You know, that's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is we are checking ourselves before another 6 months goes by and we are saying, hey, I need to look at this. There's something important here. There's something I need to learn. There's something I need to experience. That's what we're doing here. So this is really about getting honest, getting clear, and most importantly, getting back into alignment. So the back half of 2025 is fucking amazing. Okay. So let's start with acceptance. Acceptance is always the first step in every single one of my programs, whether I'm working privately with somebody or I'm working with clients in business therapy. Acceptance is the first step because what you resist persists. Fighting where you are only makes it harder to change. Right. So I always say the way that this makes sense to me is that the universe, God source, the universe always says yes, right? God always says yes. You say this sucks, God says yes. You say this is hard, God says yes. You say I never hit my goals, God says yes, right? So if we say this is terrible and I'm not where I want to be and this sucks and I hate this and we push against something, God is always saying yes. So the more that we resist something and dislike something and say we don't want this, no, the universe isn't here. No, it just says yes. It just says yes. So we have to accept I am where I am. I'm not on track. And that's okay. I'm going to change it, right? Like it really is about, it is what it is. You can't go back and change it. The past is gone. The past no longer exists. It only exists in your mind. So you are judging yourself based on something that actually no longer exists anymore. You can completely disregard it if you choose to. What my mentor has said to me in the past is like, intentional reality creation and manifestation is a present moment moving forward thing. It has nothing to do with the past unless it serves you. Meaning it doesn't exist. It literally doesn't exist. The only place that the past exists is in your mind. And you're taking what happened in the past into the present moment and continuing to recreate it every single time you say, this sucks. This is hard. I don't like this. What is wrong with me? Why can't I figure this out? Why have I been struggling with this for so long? Well, I've never figured this out before. So why am I going to figure it out now? Why is this harder for me than other people? Like those questions are actually keeping you stuck. So the first step of the process here is acceptance. We've got to look and say, hey, what's going on here? What has actually happened? Because the goal is really radical acceptance without judgment. So it doesn't mean you're giving up or you're accepting it or you're saying it's okay. It means you're saying that happened. I can't change it, but I can certainly change how I show up today, right? I can certainly change how I'm showing up today. One of the things I talked about rushing, right? Like how I felt like the years would just go, like time would go by so fast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, again, I'm behind, I'm off track. And I felt like I was chasing the clock, right? That energy is an energy of lack. That energy made me operate from scarcity. There's not enough, right? There's not enough time. There's not enough money. There's not enough information. There's not enough clients. There's not enough. That's what resistance does, is it creates a vibration and an energy of lack. And what you put out, you get back. So when you put out, there's not enough time, you get not enough. So then there's not enough time. Now there's not enough money, and there's not enough good looking men in the world, and there's not enough clients that don't suck, and there's not enough jobs in my industry in the town that I live in. And before you know it, you've created an entire life that mirrors back your story of not enough. But instead of you just turn around and be like, what's done is done. How do I show up today? I can't change it. And the more that I try to change what has happened in the past, the more that I keep it alive. So moving forward, I'm going to focus on what I want. But the first step is acceptance, right? And what's really important here is the power of curiosity over shame. This is not accept where I'm at from this place of shame. I just suck. This is just where I'm at. Just is what it is. No. We're looking, have you even looked back? Right? Are you just assuming that you're off track because you're using one metric? Am I just assuming that I'm off track because I don't compare to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so? Oftentimes, so much of what we think we're off track of or so far apart of is like one metric, right? We'll be like, well, I'm not on track for my revenue goal for the year, so I'm not on track for the year. But if you look back over what you've done over the past 6 months, you've maybe done some really cool shit, right? But we never really think about those things. We only look at the gap. We never look, that's the book, The Gap and the Gain, right? Like we always look at the gap. We never look at the gain. We never look at all the things that I have accomplished so far this year. Like, look at all the cool shit that I've done. Some of this stuff I didn't even know I wanted to do. Like when 2025 started, there were some things here that I had no idea that I was going to do. And now I'm doing them and I'm doing them really well. And this is amazing. And this is fun. And I'm so fucking proud of myself. We never do that. We're like, well, my revenue goal is $1 million and I'm only at 300. So I don't know how the fuck I'm going to make $700,000 in the next 6 months. Fuck it. I suck. Not, oh my gosh, look at what I've created. Look at what I've done. Look at what I stopped doing. Look at what I walked away from. Look at the standards that I upheld and the boundaries that I upheld and the person that I become. We never look at those things because we look at our lack from a place of shame instead of a place of curiosity. I wonder what's going on. What patterns am I seeing? Like, I really wonder what's happening here. When we come from a place of curiosity, when we ask ourselves questions instead of judge ourselves, we're open to the idea that there's actually way more going right than is going wrong. If we would stop just focusing on the shit that was going wrong, we would all feel a lot better, right? Because I don't think you're somebody who listens to this podcast who's in a complete and total fucking badass and hasn't done some cool shit this year. You're just too busy measuring the gap instead of looking at those things. And then looking at the gap from a place of curiosity. Is there a pattern here? Is there a lesson here? Am I out of alignment in some way? What's going on? Right? We're just like, I suck. I wonder what's going on here. This is interesting. And that energy is such a different way, right? Because shame leads to hiding. And I find that curiosity leads to clarity, to open-mindedness, to ideas, right? But this is really about radical personal responsibility without self-blame, right? Responsibility does not equal shame. You are where you are because of you, not in a blaming way, but in like a powerful creator of your reality kind of way, right? One of my very favorite quotes or thoughts to think about is nothing in life has any meaning except for the meaning you give it, right? Like you get to decide, like, yeah, I have not created as much X as I wanted to, right? I haven't created as many opportunities, as many transactions, as many clients, as many followers, whatever metric you're tracking. I haven't. And I can make that mean that I'm not going to, or I can make it mean that maybe something's out of alignment. I can make it mean that maybe there's information here. Maybe there's something here I need to think about or look into or ask myself some questions about, right? Maybe I'm just judging the shit out of myself so hard that that's what's creating this. But you get to decide what it means. So now once we actually really look at the information of what have we done this year? Where are we at? And we start to really accept it, and then we can give it the meaning that we want. So we can give it the meaning that I'm not going to hit my goal this year because halfway through the year I'm not halfway, or we can make it mean, look at all the progress that I've made. Look at all the momentum that I'm building. Look at all the lessons that I'm learning. Look at the person I'm becoming. When we start measuring more metrics than just sales and numbers and job titles and bank accounts, and actually start measuring, how does it feel? Who did I become? Where did I win? Where did I do something I'm really proud of? Right? Like when we start to look at those things, we realize that there's way more good in our life than we give ourselves for credit for having, right? I also really want to invite you into, are you even focused on the right goal? Like one of the things that we have discovered pretty consistently in business therapy with my clients who are not calling in what it is that they want to call in is because the goal is not theirs. And that might look like actually my goal is way too low because I'm playing scared and I'm playing it safe. And I set a goal that I thought I could hit instead of what I really wanted to hit. And so that dissonance is creating the chaos that's not allowing that to come to me. Right. Or oftentimes it's like, that's actually not what I want. Like we had one client in particular who thought she wanted a different house. Well, come to find out, she didn't really want a different house. She wanted to make some changes to her house. And as soon as that got clear, bada bing, bada boom, somebody got a bonus and then they're remodeling things. Like it's just bananas how quickly it fell into place once she was focused on the right goal. So oftentimes when we say I'm not on track for my goals, the first question I'm going to challenge you with is, do you really want it? And there's one of you right now thinking, yes, of course I fucking want to make as much money as I possibly can, Ryan. Yes. But do you happen to have a belief system that when you make as much money as you possibly can, that it's hard and it's heavy and you're going to have to work all the time and you're never going to be able to be present for your kids and you're going to have to deal with asshole clients and you're going to have to take a job you don't want to and work more hours than you want to? Well, then there you go. We're out of alignment, right? So this isn't just an opportunity to like track the metrics. It's an also opportunity to like, what am I working towards? And we're going to talk about this in episode 2 and really get into vision casting. But this is a really important part of the conversation. Do you even want what you say that you want? Because I typically see one of two things. We're either playing in realistic or we're playing in like what we think we're capable of based on the past. And both of those things are not aligned with the people in this community. We don't want realistic. I recorded an entire podcast about realistic. Fuck realistic, right? And second of all, what you did in the past, we just talked about that. It's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter how long it took you to get from point A to point B. It might take a very different amount of time to get from B to C, right? So, but those two things tend to really hold people up with their goals because their goals are based on realistic and what we've done in the past, which again starts to create some resistance. And it's like, that's not even what I really want. I actually really want da 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 da. And once you're honest with yourself and you're in alignment with what the goal that you're working towards, that's where alignment comes in and it becomes easier, safer, faster, all of those different things that we're all looking for. Okay. So again, really, what do I want? Is this goal mine? Is it somebody else's? Like off track moments, I like to view them as invitations to realign, right? They're not punishments. They're not opportunities to beat ourselves up. They're not opportunities to make ourselves wrong or find deficiencies in ourselves, right? They're opportunities for us to say, where am I out of alignment? Right? What am I carrying that's not mine? This is a really big part of it. There's so much outside noise for so many of you, right? Industry trends, other people's experiences, peer comparisons, so much of that, right? Like I see this a lot with my real estate friends where they're like, well, the market's crazy. My market's soft. My market's busy. My this, my that. Like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what so-and-so is doing. And you know how I don't care? Because I work with a lot of real estate agents and some of them are having the best year they've ever fucking had, right? Some of them are having the best year that they've ever had. So the idea that the industry is shit is actually not true, or the market's shit. It just means that you're calibrating to other people's ideas and other people's stories and not your own, right? You're taking on, Stacey used to call this, my mentor used to call this taking on other people's material. I'm going to give you a specific example of this in the coaching industry. So I came into the online space in 2019 and then obviously COVID in 2020. There was a big boom, right? People were making $1 million overnight, pop, 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 pop. And then in 22 and 23, it kind of crashed and people went crazy. And then all of a sudden, people started talking about how buying cycles were longer and how people were not spending as much money and how it had to look this way and it had to look that way and the trust factor was low and there was all these things that you needed to do to get clients. And I absolutely positively calibrated to that in that time. Like that is what wreaked so much havoc in my life is I calibrated to other people's stories instead of going out into the world and finding examples of people who were winning, because now I can look back and see there are some people that did not have a dip in their business in 22 and 23. Like there are some people whose businesses thrived, right? There are some people who made more money year over year over year over the past 5 years in their businesses. So not everybody is having a hard time financially. Not everybody is having a hard time making money, right? It just happened to be the story that I was calibrating to. So if you can't find examples of what you're looking for in your social media feeds or wherever you're spending your time or the rooms that you're hanging out in, you need to go find people who are not having that same experience to prove to you that it is not an industry-wide universal thing that this is happening. This is a circumstance that you are calibrating to through other people. And I don't know about you, I don't want other people's materials. I am the creator of my reality. I don't want somebody else having a hard time in their business to be my problem because it's just me here. Right? So this is such a big part of this. How much of the reason of us being off track is because we sit in a sales meeting every Tuesday morning where everybody talks about how off track they are, right? Or you go to a mastermind where everybody's talking about how their such and such isn't working and they're having such a hard time. Or you sit in classrooms where people talk about how long it takes to do this, 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 and this. And so all of these places where you're going to technically better yourself are telling you it's hard. That's why we don't do that here. That's why this space exists. It's only hard if you choose hard. It can be easy if you choose easy when you play the energy game. But you have to stop taking on other people's material and other people's story, right? There are very few universal truths. It's just somebody's personal truth, right? So what I really want you to use this series for is a moment to pause and reflect and take your power back, right? This is an opportunity for you to get back on track, all that enthusiasm and the excitement and everything you had when you set those goals for this year and you were so hell-bent that this was going to be the best motherfucking year of your life. You can still do that. You're just being invited to recalibrate. You're just being invited to lean in a little bit. You're just being invited to say, like, where am I really leaking power? That's what we call it in my world, right? Like, where are we leaking power? Where are we giving our power away to circumstances, to people, to other people's stories and limitations? Because we're done doing that. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to get really clear about where we are so that we can put it to bed, get rid of the guilt, the shame, the drama, the embarrassment, and the judgment, and move forward from a place of power. Because what we're going to do in the next series or the next podcast is going to be reclaiming our vision. So we're going to talk a little bit about vision casting on Wednesday. But what I would like you to do, and again, this goes back to my invitation I made at the very beginning. I want you to treat this like a paid program, and I want you to treat this as a transformation, not education. So I want you to really contemplate and think about, where am I at? What's going on? What feels good? What doesn't? Right? What is out of alignment? What am I saying yes to that I want to say no to? What am I saying no to that I want to say yes to? Right? Like, really sit down and give these things some thought. Sit down and journal them out. My favorite way to process is walking. Y'all know that by now, right? Go for a walk and ask yourself these questions. If you need to, pull up the numbers, call your accountant, call your bookkeeper, pull up your bank statements, look at the numbers if you need to, right? Look at the number of clients, look at the number of transactions, look at it and accept it. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm a vibrational match to right now. And the only way that I change the trajectory of this year is if I become an energetic match to something else. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. So thank you for being here. For those of you that take this seriously and treat this like what it is, you're going to have a really incredible experience for the back half of 2025. The invitation is there for you. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Uncensored Self podcast. If this conversation cracked something open for you, trust that that's the work. And share this episode with a woman in your life who's ready to stop performing and start creating. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review. It helps this message reach the women who need it most. Remember, you're the creator. The rules are yours. And your uncensored self, she already knows what to do. Keep leading, keep listening, keep becoming.